All right, welcome back, everyone. wxninjaa, thanks for stopping by my channel. This is the 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time update on Hurricane Dorian, Cat 2 hurricane, which you can see right here. Category 2, 110 mile an hour, 958 millibars, moving northwest at 6 miles an hour. So that forward momentum is picked up a little bit. I don't think we'll see it pick up too much more, but it's making that northwest turn now. And you can see the showers here. The dry air must have wrapped around, and now it's getting into the southern part of the storm and eroding it a little bit. But as you can see, unfortunately, the strongest part of the storm in this picture right here, or radar loop, is that northwest quadrant and the west part of the storm, which is what's battering the coast of Florida right now. Beach erosion, is going to be an issue. If we take a little closer look, I mean, the people that live in here know. You got bays and all kinds of stuff. Here's Indian River. I saw some video out of Indian River, and they were getting hammered. They were getting some beach erosion. Just not a good situation. Again, you get rain over here heavy, and it tries to flow out into the river, and then from the river back into the ocean, obviously. And if the water's coming in to the west into the river, rather than letting the river drain out, it's just going to bottle everything up back in here, and it's going to, it's going to flood these towns that are right near the coast. So scary situation. Just be prepared for heavy rain, some flooding, some coastal erosion. If you've been in hurricanes in the past that have flooded, then they're comparable to this one. They're going to flood. On that note, I want to bring up a couple things regarding this hurricane. In the Carolina area, North and South Carolina, more so the Northern Carolina they were talking, or North Carolina, sorry. If you went through Irma, if you went through Matthew, 2017 and 2016, and you had flooding from storm surge, they were about 4 for Irma and 4.5 feet for hurricane. 4 feet for Irma and 3.5 for Matthew. Now, if you got flooding in those two storms, you're definitely going to get flooding in this one, because this one's going to be a little bit more. It's not going to be bad, as bad as Hurricane Hugo as of right now, but still, you could be looking at 5 feet of water, 4 to 5 feet of water. So if you flooded during Hurricane Irma or Matthew, then you're gonna get some storm surge, and you're probably gonna flood again. So definitely be prepared. Speaking of the storm surge potential, you're looking at 2 to 4 feet along the eastern coast up to, let's say, Daytona Beach. From there to about Savannah, Georgia, you're looking at 3 to 5 feet of storm surge. From Savannah up into the Wilmington, a little north of Wilmington, 4 to 7 feet, and then along the northern North Carolina coast and southern Virginia coast, you're looking at about 3 to 5 feet. So, that's some storm surge to get out of the way of. Here's a broader look of it. You can see, if I could animate this properly, you can just see here's the projected path of this thing. It's going to stay quite close to the coast. Up here in North Carolina especially, you look right here, that's not far offshore. And this thing is, its winds, hurricane force winds extend 60 miles from the center. And the tropical storm force winds, which are 39 to 73 miles per hour, 175 miles from the center. This thing's about 100 miles offshore from the eye to the closest point, we'll say around here in Florida. Roughly 100 miles. So even with it being 100 miles offshore, you're going to feel those tropical force winds. Tropical storm force winds. They're already feeling them along the coast here in the higher gusts. So if this thing comes up in here, you can get some strong winds up here in Wilmington and Jacksonville and whatnot. So if you live in those areas, keep a close eye. I would get the heck out of the way. Here's what I've been fearing was going to happen. We were going to see video come out of the Bahamas, and it's just going to be destruction. This reminds me a lot of what you see after a tornado, minus the water. That's really high water, but just look at the flattening. You can see like a path. And that's just what the water does. Obviously it pushes everything around, and as it recedes, it just drops it wherever it is. This also reminds me of what you saw in Katrina. There's a lot of standing water. When I was down there, I saw a lot of debris like this. The weirdest thing I saw was debris up high in trees because that's how high the water was, and it was 20 feet. So the storm surge here, I don't know what it's going to be. I know they had 220 mile per hour wind gusts, and that is, as you can imagine, it's going to destroy everything. There wasn't anything else on that page for you guys, but here's just another example of the storm surge there. Just crazy. I mean, what can you say? Yeah, here's the gust, wind gusts up to 220 miles per hour. These are the kids, dad and his teenage son and daughter. They had to evacuate their house. You can see chest high water on the girl, and up to the kids, a little past his waist maybe. But it just came in, and they didn't evacuate yet for whatever reason. I don't know the whole story, but just horrible. This video, I'm not going to play it for you. Like I said, I don't own any of this stuff. This is all just stuff I find online and put together for you guys just to give you a quick little synopsis of what's going on. We're looking at Cat 2 hurricane. Early Wednesday AM, 110. Wednesday PM, 110. So look at how far it goes in one day, or 12 hours. What I'm guessing is a 12-hour span. They just put AM and PM, but a lot more movement, right, than what we saw down around the Bahamas when it was going 1 to 5 miles an hour. So maybe this thing will kick up to 10, 12 miles per hour, I don't know, and then eject off as it gets cut in, as it gets streamed up. On the backside of the high-pressure system, the high-pressure system is actually dipping south, helping to push Dorian. So then it gets down to 105. I believe it was 90 when it was up here off the coast of North Carolina. Excuse me. I was trying to see if there was any, what the winds were doing here. I saw some 80s earlier. Look at that tornado, radar indicated tornado. Maybe false, just so you know, but it's just saying, hey, there's some rotation here, which all thunderstorms do rotate. But I'm not seeing any. There was St. Augustine with a 35, which makes sense. That wind's going to be shooting out of the north. It's like a big sinking hole in the atmosphere. All the wind. The atmosphere sinks into this low pressure system. Lots of thunderstorms across. But you can see right now, if you really look at this thing, well, that's way too close, sorry. Right on cue, though. If you really look at this thing, you can see it's just now getting to the coast. See how those actual hurricane, not just the outer band, or do you want to say the band's out ahead of the hurricane? But I think you get the point. The solid band of the hurricane is now coming ashore. So that's going to really increase the winds, especially, you see these oranges, or yellows and oranges, whatever you want to call them. That is the heavier precipitation type. It's headed straight for Daytona Beach. It'll probably cut down and, come down here somewhere further down I-95, but maybe into Titusville here. But you're going to start to see some heavy rain. The wind's going to pick up. You're going to see coastal erosion pick up. I was trying to see. It's not a very good wind measurement. You're going to see that coastal erosion pick up. Like I said, we've already seen it. It's only going to get worse. Thank God this thing didn't make landfall in Florida, but even still, it's still moving slow, relatively slow, and it's right off the coast there, really impacting the coast. So here's the broader view, more of a longer sat view from when it was in the Bahamas, and you can start to see the center again there in the last few frames. So that being over water it's helping it get its act together. Again, I don't think it's going to strengthen very much, if it does strengthen at all. It's definitely not going to get back up to the Cat 5 185 mile an hour storm that we once had. If anything, I think the water, like I said before, the warmer water would just help it maintain its structure. If it does gain anything, it probably won't be a lot. I wouldn't be surprised to see, after looking at the satellite view at the last couple of frames there, I wouldn't be surprised to see the pressure go down, and maybe the winds tick up a little bit. but more so the pressure go down would not surprise me, just because of the way it's getting a little more organized there in the center again. And we might see a well-defined eye. I know you can see it on radar, but back on satellite. So let's talk about a couple different things here. As we've mentioned, I've mentioned the last few videos I've done. You've got the disturbance over here in as Tropical Depression 7 over in the Gulf of Mexico. It's moving northwest into Mexico, and I think it's going to just skirt southern Texas. We'll talk about that in a minute. There's obviously Dorian. There's another tropical storm. There's another one for potential development. And then here's a wave. And you see some more action coming off the coast of Africa there. So let's break it all down. This is now Tropical Storm Fernand. Yeah, great English, great pronunciation on my part. There's the tropical storm. You can read it. Anyhow, central pressure 1,004 millibars, so pretty high. The winds have gone up 5 miles per hour now to 40 miles per hour. So it's going to gain a little strength. Warm waters right there. We'll look at that path in a minute. There's obviously Dorian. Disturbance 2, now it's 50% chance of cyclone formation in 48 hours. We will see what happens with that one. It's basically sitting right under the high pressure, which is kind of scary because it's going to give it time to develop. But again, this high pressure is sinking south, so I don't know where it's going to end up. I don't know if it's going to go back north, if it's going to just keep going south and hang out over the Caribbean. Depending on what it does, will depend on what this storm does. Because if this storm gets caught up in the high pressure, the flow of the high pressure, around the high pressure, I should say, then it'll eject it out or whatever. Best case scenario, it would just eject it out like Dorian's going to do off to the northeast. But we don't know yet. This is Tropical Depression 8 now, not just a invest or anything like that. Invest means just an area they're looking at that they're interested in. This is Tropical Depression 8, 35 miles an hour, 1,006 millibars, so it's already as strong as the tropical storm. Now, the tropical storm is probably a lot more organized. That's why it is a tropical storm and not just a depression. We can click it for some details, actually. That might take too long. So here is the tropical storm, Fernandad. I don't know, I'll just guess. Anyways, you can see, the thing I didn't want to mention about this in all seriousness is you can see this thing turning off to the northwest. Now, how much it dies in here as it goes over land, I don't know. But this thing could come up into southern Texas here. Yeah. This doesn't have any sort of indication as far as terrain here, how mountainous it is. But the more mountainous the terrain, the more it's going to kill tropical depression. I know there is some hills and stuff in here. So anyhow, we'll have to watch this thing and make sure it doesn't hopefully come up here too far and do anything. It'd probably come over maybe this way. Depending on what the flow is, there may be a front coming down out of the U.S. that would help push it away. Here's the last image of the day, or for right now, I should say, just your watches and warnings. You got a storm surge watch, hurricane watch, another hurricane watch. These are all just the different areas. So you're going to have the storm surge watch from this hurricane coming up and just pushing water in. I think around here is going to be the worst part, honestly. If you live around this area in this sound, I can't read the name, Pamlico Sound, does that sound right? Another sound up here. Anywhere around the Virginia Beach area, all these areas down and through here, this is why they have this watch, this storm surge watch, because if you look, the storm's going to be coming along right like this. Here's the track. This is the center line of the storm they're thinking. I mean, it's going to be basically right over. It's going to throw all this water into here, and it's going to start backing up, and it's going to back up a ways. So, not trying to play an alarmist, but just so you know, all these little areas that jet out especially are going to get hit hard, with everywhere else getting hit hard too. They've got the hurricane warnings posted all the way up the coast. So, man, it's just a bad situation. I know it doesn't seem like much. You know, sitting at a Cat 2, 110 mile an hour. But I mean, look at that. Excuse me. That's a lot of moisture. That's a lot of power. 110 mile an hour isn't anything to mess around with. So if you have any questions, just leave a comment and let me know. I'm going to include information, Florida, Georgia, Carolinas, like I've been doing as far as evacuations go and whatnot. If you want to get the latest update as soon as I post a video, just subscribe and hit the bell icon, and it'll let you know as soon as you get that, or as soon as I post a video. Again, this is wxninjaa. Appreciate you guys stopping by, and I am going to update a couple more times today. I haven't updated anything else today other than this morning, just because not much has gone on. But now, as this thing's getting interested, or getting closer, it's definitely getting more and more interested. So I'll keep an eye on things for you. Take care.